That's correct.
All right. And if people want to buy your book, they can find it on the internet at different places like Amazon, but especially at www.shoebat, SHOEBAT.com. All of that's good?
That's good.
Very good. Well, we've got some callers, but before we get to our callers, I want to ask Brother David a question. People have been saying, what's Brother David doing tonight on the program? Well, he's learning, and so am I. We're glad Brother Waleed's here to teach us. But Brother David, I got a question for you. I think it's a good question. How does this come into play? You being a debater, an apologist, dealing more with issues of what Muhammad did and exposing the fallacies of the Quran and other things. But has this ever come up, this idea of eschatology? And as you're beginning to learn more about it, what do you think for all of those out there, and many apologists, maybe they're not paid, maybe they're not missionaries, but there's Christians out there who do apologetic work on the internet. What do you see as the potential value of learning this eschatological differences in comparison, possibly to apologetics?
Well, it is a very different way of going about things. Really, my only emphasis on eschatology ever has been, well, we win. That's about what I've gathered from eschatology. Book, right? We win. I know that. I know that much. It does come up, though. It has come up a couple of times in debate. I remember one time I was debating Bassam Zawadi in a mosque up in Connecticut, and end times came up, and he was saying Islam gives all these signs of the end times, and it was the most general stuff ever. It was some of the most general comments ever. Like people will build tall buildings. You have to be a real, genius to figure that one out. It was interesting though, because some of the Waleed talked about in the Hadith, they have large sections that they're giving all these signs of the end times. And interestingly, some of them seem to be impossible to fulfill. There's one where it says the people are, before the end times, people are going to circle Dua Khalasa naked. The problem is, shortly after that, Muslims destroyed it. So the place is gone. It was another place like the Kaaba that people used to walk around seven times and so on. But now it's been destroyed. Muslims destroyed it. It doesn't exist anymore. How are people ever going to walk around this thing? Muslims aren't going to allow them to build this pagan temple again. So certain things like that seem like they can't happen. It's interesting though, because you would find certain similar situations in the Bible where it doesn't look like this could happen. Where's the nation of Israel? So if you're in the 16th or 17th century talking about something that's going to happen in the nation of Israel, when's that going to happen?
Well, that's a good point.
But he forgot to tell you that in Islam, Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, predicted the destruction of Mecca and Medina. They will be burned. Now, if Allah was in control, why is He allowing Mecca and Medina, the holiest places in Islam, to be burned in the end times? In other words, that doesn't look like the triumph of Islam. And the reason He had that there, because the Bible predicted the burning of Arabia. And it's in several places in the Bible.
Well, real quick question before we get to our callers, going along with the apologetic value of studying eschatology. I've heard it been said, and that book I showed you before the show, that Islamic eschatology borrows a great deal from Christian eschatology and Zoroastrianism, the religion of Iran in times past. That a lot of the ideas, like the Sirat, the narrow bridge that you walk across, to get to heaven, and all these other things.
The whole view of heaven with the houris and so on, that's Persian.
All that comes from the Zoroastrianism.
Mythology.
And even I understand, I haven't read your book and I intend to, but I understand, some of the eschatological views, they're borrowing and perverting, are they not?
Absolutely.
It's not like they just came up with these things. Very good.
No, really, we've said it before on this show, if you take some of the teachings from some of the Talmudic teachings from the Jews, if you take some of the heretical Christian scriptures of the time that were in Arabia, a lot of the heretical groups fled the Roman Empire, went to the Middle East. They're living in Arabia. You take some of their teachings, you take some of the views of paradise of the Persians, you take the practices of the pagans, the Kaaba and the black stone and circling the Kaaba and fasting during Ramadan. You take all of this stuff and you mix it up into one big ball, you get Islam.
You can
And that's
reconstruct
exactly-
most of
yeah.
the Quran.
Yeah, that's
Amazing, amazing.
it's right there.
All right, well, amazing. We've got several callers. Why don't we get into those calls right now? I think we've got about 5 on the line, and we only got about a half hour left. So for the callers, do try to bring your questions or comments, make them concise, so we can try to respect all of our callers and get to all of them. Let's take the next one right now. Welcome, you're on the air with Jesus or Muhammad and Walid Shubat.
Peace be Christ, Pastor Joseph and Brother David and Brother Walid.
God bless you.
Christian with you.
Welcome.
By the way, I don't know if you know my voice by now.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Welcome, dear brother.
Yeah, and Brother Walid, I think he knew my voice too, but maybe he did not know me because I saw some of my videos in his website about Islam.
Oh, yes, you're one of my favorite. I don't know your name, though. I see your things, and I love your work, and I don't know your name. I wish I could email you. Can you email me at walid@shubat.com?
Sure. I would be happy actually to talk to you, brother. You're a great man, and we support you. And feel free to use all my videos. All of them, they are yours. Don't worry.
I love your work. My family enjoys watching your YouTube clips and everything else, especially the Kaaba one.
Yeah, and actually more to come. We are working hard, and we are doing even our day show exposing Islam in English. I have a comment, Brother Walid, about what you said regarding the good things in the Quran. You know, actually there's nothing good in the Quran, because if you go deep in details, you will see that the Quran has nothing good. Like as an example, the Quran says Islam is against adultery, but you can rape a Christian woman. Islam is against adultery, but you can take a married woman to your bed, you kiss her, you touch her everywhere. This is called al-laman. It's a small sin, not a problem. Islam is against theft, but if you steal money from a Christian or a Jew, this is not a theft, because he is an unprotected person. Islam is against killing, as chapter 5, verse number 32 says. But Muhammad, he said, no Muslim will be, no blood of a Muslim will be shed for killing a kafir or an infidel or a Christian. So in outside, yes, there is something good you can see, but if you go deep in details, you will see that this religion has zero good, all is ugly, but the outside might look good for some. At the same time, we need to mention something very important, usually we forget to mention, which is the abrogation. Like the verse you mentioned that there's no compulsion in Islam, this is an abrogated verse, and Muslims are not allowed to follow. Muhammad, he used it as a tactique. You know, it's a tactique in war. Like in the beginning, because I'm weak, I will say to you, I'm a peaceful man, I don't want to kill you, etc., you know, until I get the power, then I will stay you. So this is not really part of Islam. It was a tactique. This is why we should mention always that those verses exist in the Quran, it's true, but Muslims are not allowed to follow them, which means the Muslims, they use them now to deceive us, to fool the ones who have no knowledge of Islam, saying to them, you see, the Quran says, I have my religion, you have yours. But the fact, Islam don't say that. This is when Muhammad was weak, before he had teeth and he had army. But after he had army, this verse exists in the Quran, but no Muslim is allowed to follow it. The chapter of the sword, I'm sure Brother Walid, he knew about it.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I don't think you were saying anything different from.
Yeah, we
from
all
what you were
agree.
saying.
La ikraha fi din was part of Mansukha, the verses of the Mansukha. Everything was nusikhat bi'ayat al-sayf. We agree with that one. I think what I'm trying to get as a point is that the face value, if you read at face value, La ikraha fi din, it sounds good. But you see, that's at face value. And most Westerners don't understand what you presented very eloquently about the nasikh wal mansukh and the abrogation and how Surah Al-Sayf abrogated all these peaceful verses in the Quran. But a person just reading the verse, he thinks, wow, that sounds really good. But I do agree with you 100%. I think we're both on the same page. I was just trying to make an example, that's all.
And regarding the book you're making, I think it's going to be a great book. There is something maybe I need to mention, that the name of Muhammad, one of his names, is the Prophet Rasul al-Arabi bi Mecca, the Prophet of the Arab in Mecca. If you calculate the numbers for those letters, according to the coding, it's going to be 200 plus 70 plus 30 plus 1 plus 30 plus 6 plus 60 plus 200 plus 2 plus 20 plus 40 plus 2 plus 5. The total is 666. This is the name of Muhammad according to the code. So even the code proves that Muhammad is an antichrist. And then again, if you go to the Bible, you will see that those who they are following this beast, they will have a sign in their forehead. And this is what the Muslims have. When the Muslims, they pray, when they put their head in the floor, there's a